Hi guys, Marshall here, and if you're new to me, I help codependents rediscover happiness after codependency and narcissistic abuse through three specific ways. One, help you heal your trauma. Two, help you discover who you are, and three, help you create happy relationships. My clients see results within less than 90 days of starting with me, and within 12 months, typically have accomplished what they've accomplished is healthier relationships. They're more at peace. They feel more sane. They like and love themselves more, and they understand who they are and what they need and want in their life. So that's radically fast, because most people, it's like 4 to 10 years in therapy, 12 months. Boom, you can start having a radically different life for yourself. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about the 5 what's called experiential compatibilities in a relationship. Okay, so yesterday we talked about the functional compatibilities. Like, they're the essentials, they're the function of the 4 zones of compatibility, of connection. Well, these ones are about the experience in those 4 zones, and this is really where you come in. This is what really matters to you as an individual, and how it creates the flavor, the texture of the relationship. So we're going to be talking about that today. Before we get to that, make sure you, if you're looking for a safe haven on the internet where you're seen, loved, and valued, where you're believed and you're supported and you're sheltered from the nightmare of narcissistic abuse, of avoidant relationships, and of just dealing with codependency, check out the community. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube, and hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Thank you guys for doing that. So let's talk about the 5 experiential components of compatibility. So last week we talked about functional compatibility and its 5 components, which was communication, conflict, attachment, availability, and trust. So we're going to talk about those 5 components of experiential compatibility. And those are needs, wants, capacity, values, and power. Sound familiar? You got to know your needs, your wants. You got to know how much you can bring to the table. You got to know what your values are. And you got to understand how power works in a relationship. So these 5 dimensions, these 5 elements here, they give us the custom experience of the relationship. It's what brings us alive in it. It's also what determines fundamentally if you're satisfied in it or not. It's what helps you understand who you are and who they are, and how you fit together and how you don't in a relationship. And a lot of times this is where the conflict is. This is where the problems are. This is where the differences show up, and where you need to be very, very conscious about where you're coming from and where they're coming from, so you can find the balance and the appropriate path forward in your relationship there. So let's talk a bit about each of them. So needs. We all have 10 fundamental needs. I call them the 10 core needs. And if these are not properly nurtured in a relationship and within ourselves, we're not going to be able to have a solid, secure relationship. Mostly because we're going to lapse into codependency, trying to get somebody else to meet our needs, and by pleasing them. Or we're going to go into this independence where I can only meet it myself. It's only got to be in me. I only got to trust myself here. And that is inappropriate. That's called counterdependence. The goal here is interdependence, which means I'm able to keep myself. I'm able to identify my needs, and then I'm able to share and ask for what I need from someone who's earned my trust. Boom. I have safe attachment, secure trust with them. They're available. We're able to communicate effectively, and our conflict is safe. My needs will be safe with that person. I can ask them for what I need. Maybe I want some attention. Maybe I need some affection or some protection. Boom. I can ask, and they might or may not provide it, and then I can go from there. This is how I'm advocating for my needs. I'm not expecting them to do it. I'm not expecting my partner to do it. I'm not expecting the other person to do it, because it's not on expectation, it's on consent. And with consent comes power, or comes the balance of power in the relationship. So we'll talk about more of that here in a second. So that's needs. These are the things we need in order to thrive from our most foundational or fundamental self. When needs are being met well, our wants come alive. Our wants are the things that we want to bring into the world, that we want to experience and we want to do. This is where our joy, our creativity, our brilliance shows up through the wants. So wants are things that are individual and mutual. The relationship will have its own wants, and you will have your own wants, and the people you have relationships with will have their own wants. And you'll be able to discuss them, share them, and support each other in that experience of fulfilling those wants. Now, there's some wants you two will do really well. You and everyone else in the relationship will do really well with. There'll be some that you don't, and there'll be some that you do independent of each other, and then you can share those things, which creates more interest and play and curiosity in the relationship. So you got to understand what your wants are, and that takes a little exploration and knowing of yourself and being in a conscious contact with your 9 expressions of your true voice. So that's about knowing who you are, and that comes from being in contact with your body and with what your yes and no impulses are, what your maybe is, what your confusion is, things of that nature. And we have what's called capacity. This is your individual ability or availability to certain things. Sexual libido falls into this. Social energy falls into this. Financial capabilities fall into this. Time, emotional energy, mental energy, intellectual energy. These are all capacities you've got to get in touch with to understand if you are available in that particular way at that particular time for that person, as well as what you require for those capacities to be maintained, to be nurtured, to be cared for, both within yourself and within relationship to another human being. Because we don't want to be in relationships with people who drain us. We want to be in relationships with people who add to our well-being and to our happiness. So capacity is one of those areas you've got to really come to know and be in touch with so that you can accomplish that. Fourth one is values. This has to do with what I call core values, and I'm not talking the common approach to core values, which is, I'm going to circle words on a sheet that resonate with me. I'm talking intuitive values that your body gives you that guide you as fundamental principles in relationship. So an example of that is one of my relationship values is connection. And that means I'm going to work to focus on feeling connected with the people I have relationship with. That is a priority for me in how I interact with them. A second value in relationship for me is honesty, kind honesty. And I know how that feels and I know how it works for me, so I practice that. And that's me sharing what I think and feel, asking for consent, and receiving that from them and allowing that to work between us. So knowing your values is actually going to help you set up your boundaries. It's going to set up your internal rule book for how you engage with them and with yourself, especially when it comes to conflict, when it comes to communication, when it comes to attachment, availability, and trust. Values are going to influence those. They already are, you just don't know it. So understanding your values is essential. And in the relationship strategy, I take you through an intuitive process that helps you discover the values you hold in your needs, your wants, and in communication, in conflict, and attachment, and availability, and trust, and companionship, and play, intimacy, and support. You have values that are operating there. You need to know them so that you can advocate for them and live from them, and that's going to lead to more satisfaction and clarity for you, more power, and more confidence for you. Which brings us to power. So power is a big, big issue in relationship because we all want to control something, especially if we're feeling vulnerable, we're feeling insecure, we're feeling not sure about things. We're going to go towards control, and this is where we take our power and we try to exert it over or onto someone else. So understanding that, we can start to identify what's in our power and start to understand what's in their power and work towards consent rather than control. And this is a place where we got to do some practice and some work with getting in relationship to a positive relationship with our power and our inner advocate, as well as learning to respect the natural powerlessness we also have in relationships, which is dominantly about what they feel, what they desire, what they choose, and how they act. That's important because then it keeps us out of being sucked into a fantasy about who they are and what we want them to be, because we're not going to try to change them anymore. Instead, we're going to respect what they choose to be, and then we're going to use our power to make effective choices that are aligned with our values and our well-being, our wants, our needs, and our capacity. See how this is working? That then aligns you with the person that will have the proper communication, conflict, attachment, availability, and trust styles, so that your companionship, your intimacy, your play, and your support all function well for you. Welcome to compatibility and how it works. This is what we do in the relationship strategy. Because guys, that's what it's about. I help you create happy, healthy relationships within a matter of months in your life based on this, rather than toiling and struggling in the world, trying to figure it out without just messing up. It reduces rejection. It reduces the fear and mystery of it. It increases your sense of confidence and security in it. And it's easier to find compatible people, so you don't actually repeat a toxic relationship. So enrollment for the relationship strategy is open. I'm over a period of 6 weeks. I'm going to be teaching you 3 specific things. That is to understand what your what and your how are, what they are in your relationship, so that you can choose the right who in your relationship. Then I'm going to teach you how to discover another person and understand who they are based on their patterns of behavior, based on how they show up and how you feel and how you're contributing to the relationship. And then how to grow and sustain that relationship by growing happiness in it. So we'll be doing that over the next 16 weeks. We start December 6th. So enrollment is open till the 5th. The link is above to get more information on this. It's above on Facebook, below on YouTube. But yeah, I'd love to have you as a student come join us. Right now we have about 30 seats out of 50 open, so jump in with that. And let's change your world there so you have happy, healthy relationships. And this includes friendships, business relationships, spiritual relationships, therapeutic relationships, all of that. All of this can help you determine who's the right fit for you. So there you go. Guys, my friends, I appreciate you. Thank you for showing up. Have a safe holiday. Remember that you're worth knowing, loving, and keeping. If you got answers or if you got questions, I've got answers. You can email me. Go to the answers link above it, and then you can contact me via chat, via email. You can show up to the community answers I host every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Or there's one other option, isn't there? I don't remember what that option is, but there's 4 of them there. Take advantage of it. I'll get you answers. Again, thank you again, my friends. Stay safe, and I will see you in our next training.